Push it live. Oh, you did.
Push it live. Push it.
And I forgot to mention, after your bumper, we'll play the intro. Yeah, here we go. Oh. Wrong button. Wrong button.
Jeez,
I'm sorry.
Leo.
Tell me when you're ready.
All ready.
Ready?
Oh,
Ready.
Yep.
Hi, this is Ron Garney. I'm reaching out from beyond the ether, looking to talk to you all on expressive.
Oh, love it.
Is the one obvious thing.
It's me. It's Carrie. All the guests. Yeah. Gonna have a good show. Yeah.
We've created a friggin' monster.
You weren't muted, Drew.
Yeah, he knows that.
Again?
Yeah. Sure,
Oh my
it's
God.
an accident. Yeah, okay. Anyway, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have a fabulous show for you, as always. An incredible guest. Before we get into that, here we go, Carrie.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Ratatosker and I are here. We read some great stuff by our wonderful guest. Hey, Tom Dog. How's it going? And yeah, can't wait to share everything with you. I have questions because, of course, I have questions. I always have questions. But you know who else might have some questions? I bet Jar Jar does.
I've got a few questions. Just a few. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. I have to say this opening is one of my favorite openings of all time. That was great between Ron and Drew. I think we should just end the show there. We've only got down to go now. But with that said, over to you, Drew.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'm just doing my best Ron Garney. I'm sorry, I got to switch hands. Hey, how you doing? What's up, everybody? Hey, everybody. So thank you so much. It's Tuesday. Clearly, you canceled your subscription to some streaming service, so you ended up here. We have a great guest. We saw him at Terrificon, and he was just so delightful that we asked him to come back, and he said yes. So that's a verbally binding agreement. So we got him there. He's here. He already has in our probably best opening bumper ever. Everybody, the artist of Berserker, tons of stuff for Marvel, DC, the great, the somewhat well rested, still hilarious Ron Garney.
You started that opening. You said my breast, Ron Garney. You said.
Oh no!
If you slow down the video, you're going to see you go like this a little bit.
Oh boy. Oh my.
The Freudian slip there.
Freudian.
I don't
We do
know.
need a show, like just be together and it'd
I
be
don't know.
great.
No. I'm not pretty enough. I
What's
shaved
up,
my
guys?
beard.
Look at
Hey, man.
Jar. I like Jar Jar. It looks like the Millennium Falcon or something.
I know, right? I get all the compliments from my room. I wish it was in better.
I've
I
never
wish I
seen
had
a
more
road quite
comics
like
up.
Well,
You know.
summer's over, so you can put them back up now.
That's true. It'll be
Yeah.
nice and cool now.
So-
I won't have to worry about comics falling from the sky.
What's that,
So-
Ron?
I said I like Carrie's draperies in the back. They look like Celtic or something.
Mhm.
Norse.
Norse, nice,
Mhm.
Yeah.
nice.
Yep.
She's our
So-
Dark Lord.
And you got Leo, who's got can't see what's on his shelf there. Oh, okay, some Star Wars stuff. Nice. And Drew just has a big wall.
Yep. Just a wall, sir. No bricks here. Just windows into my soul. Before we start, just out of curiosity, what's everybody drinking tonight?
Polar Seltzer.
Oh, very nice. Wow, it's a good vintage, right?
Oh yes. Since
Yeah.
1923.
My choice is Uncle Nearest.
There you go. Okay.
1984.
We're showing up.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. Carrie, what do you got?
God, Ashes is going to be so disappointed in me. But I don't have any bourbon right now, so I'm drinking the $2 Chuck Charles Shaw Shiraz because I pick it up every time I go to Trader Joe's because it's $4 a bottle and it's not terrible. So
There you
it's
go.
like, okay.
The little things of peanut butter whiskey.
Oh,
Nah,
nice.
I got to find some, man, because that sounds delicious. I'm just drinking some Gentleman Jack, good old Tennessee whiskey, everybody.
And some Woodford
Oh.
Reserve. They have.
And
Yeah, let's go.
nice.
So, a friend of
Also have
mine.
Ratatosker is drinking as well because he's an alcoholic squirrel.
Oh my God.
He's got some moonshine tonight, so things are gonna get fun over at the Carey place.
And I went to the South Carolina Comic Con and he had some moonshine down there. It was unbelievable.
Oh my God. Yo.
Drinking gallons of it. It tasted so good.
Dude,
I remember when I was at C2E2 back in 2020, they had a DC panel, and I think like it was after hours. And I think I heard, because I wasn't there, but my friend was there, and he was like, oh yeah, Tom King got so wasted. He's just sitting there at the panel and he's just spilling DC secrets. I was like, Tom, they're not going to let us come back next year. You need to chill. Like, somebody get him a Fresca. And it was apparently like the greatest thing. And I was like, and I missed it. It's my first time in Chicago, and I was more concerned with pizza. No regrets. No.
Carrie can add this to the Stories of Leo, book. But my grandfather was a moonshiner, and apparently he.
this does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, like Prohibition era. It's he blew up his still once. Fun times.
Wow. So
And lived.
Yeah.
Did Grandpa have like some copper embedded in his skull after that? Like,
he was crazy. In his older years. He would drive around with a lawnmower, and he'd always have like firecrackers on him, like the old style, and he'd just light them and drop them at your feet.
Boom.
how many members of your family have not tried to kill you or cause you serious injury in some way, Leo? Ron, you don't know this, but like his dad has hit him in the head with a backhoe more than once. Bought him things like a 4-wheeler that didn't have brakes. He did a 3-wheeler. Oh yeah, sorry, more dangerous 3-wheeler.
The go-kart didn't have brakes. Yeah.
Oh, the go-kart.
So you're very close with your family.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm actually, you're in Connecticut, right, Ron? Yeah, I'm in Connecticut as well. Grew up on a small family farm.
Where?
Montville.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Whereabouts are you?
Well, I'm in New Haven, but I went to school with a kid from Montville. His name was was his name, Eugene or something, but that was back in the early '80s.
Yeah.
But I'd gone up there a few times. It's nice up there.
Yeah, totally.
No, Leo, all you're going to say is you grew up there. We're moving on because we're not making.
Yeah, we're
I-
here
I-
on tonight, guys. I don't know if you
No.
noticed.
No, I do have a question though, based on Leo's question. When you asked him, like, well, you're from Connecticut, is that like supposed to mean like, oh, your parents tried to hurt you too, didn't they? It's okay? Or 'cause what was the, well, you're from Connecticut, you'd understand? Or where was that going? Is that the right direction?
Leo,
Are you asking me or him?
I'm asking Leo, like, why he was like, you're
Oh,
from
you asking me?
Connecticut, so you'd get it.
Well,
Yeah. No, I was asking you.
Yeah,
Like-
We all have our histories, Carrie.
yeah. Hey, Connecticut in the '80s was a crazy time, you know.
Oh,
I'm a little older than you guys. So.
Leo, we're going to shut down your
much.
story in crazy time because Ron doesn't need to know that one. Okay, we're not opening that door. We've opened that door. We've documented that door. We're not going there. Okay,
Yep.
This isn't about Ron. This isn't about you and your, Hunger Games childhood. Okay.
See, the perfect follow up to what you just said would be if he got up and walked across the room and he had no pants on.
No. That's not a Leo move. That's very much a me move, but I wore pants today. So,
Well, that's good to know. Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah.
God.
Wearing pants.
Yeah, exactly. But
Thank you for
who wants to start? Because I can start, but I don't have to.
I was figuring, are we going from the beginning? Like, what
Are
was Ron?
are we being recorded yet?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
All right, let's get this show on the road.
we've been on for 12 minutes.
Yeah, people are watching, you know.
Come on.
So
Everybody's enjoying the banter.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I want to see my own opening, actually.
Oh, you will. We'll send
multiple
it to you.
times.
Oh, don't worry, Ron.
It'll be there.
No, trust me. I'll ask Leo, can I get that? I want to send that to him separately. I got your email, buddy. I got you. You'll get that email directly.
Yeah, we'll make a short of it. Yeah, but Jar Jar, were you starting with Berserker or how you
I
started in
was
general?
going to start with how he got started in general in comics from like being a kid. Probably, I'm assuming as a kid you were always drawing and stuff. How did it end up that Ron Garney was like, I'm going to be a comic book artist, aka / writer?
That didn't happen until I was out of college, actually.
Really?
I was drawing, since I was little. At one point in high school, I wanted to be a fantasy illustrator like Frank Frazetta,
Oh, nice.
Boris, and Michael Whalen, and guys like that. Don Mates, who was actually, I think, from Connecticut at one point. But that's really what I wanted to be. So I was predominantly a painter, oil painting and things like that, doing fantasy paintings.
Cool.
And I went to college. And all my paintings got stolen.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
Everything from my childhood got stolen. It was I was in an apartment building after the dorms, and all my stuff was in one of those cages, locked cages in the basement that you keep your stuff in. And I went down there when I was moving out, and it had been broken into, and it was all gone, which was pretty heartbreaking. It wasn't long after that, I think it was in '84, that I kind of discovered comics because I was bartending, and a fellow bartender had a comic behind the bar, and he was reading it. I'm like, oh, what's that? And he said, oh, it's this comic called Secret Wars. And I was like, oh my God, let me look at that. And I looked at it, and I read some comics when I was young. I remember certain particular ones that stuck out, some Marvel stuff, and then other things like Gold Key comics, and I do remember Jack Kirby's art and the Thing fighting the Hulk on the George Washington Bridge,
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that. And that stuck out in my mind. I remember reading some Dracula, and then I was really into creepies and eerie's. This is all back in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, and through the 70s, the creepies and eerie's. And I was into Godzilla and Star Trek and all that. So, but I also was into sports, and I also, was into music and was in a band. And I'm in a band now, actually. And so I kind of forgot about all that, by the time I went to college. But I still had fancied the idea of playing around with being a fantasy illustrator or some kind of illustrator, paperback covers and things. So anyway, the guy had the comic behind the bar, and I looked at it, and I kind of brought back those memories a little bit. But it had been over, like a decade since I really looked at them. And so I asked him where he got it. 24-hour store down the road, down the street. So I went down there after work, and I started digging into like old comics and bought a bunch. And the first one I read was actually a John Byrne comic. It was a Fantastic Four, and the issue was called Evening of the Witch. And in the issue, Byrne had done a narrative across the top of the pages, and then another narrative across the bottom. And across the bottom was Reed, I guess, and Sue and Franklin. They had moved into Connecticut, and they were under assumed identities. And it was really interesting. Right away, I was really fascinated with it, and I kind of got hooked right away. I couldn't wait to read the next one. And on the top was another narrative where the Thing, and he catches Johnny Storm with Alicia, and they get into a fight, So these two narratives are going across, and I thought it was brilliant, It was like really just like watching the best TV show I could imagine, And Byrne's stuff was very addictive because of the simplicity of his faces, and you could, it's like you can project personalities onto simple faces. And he didn't use a lot of detail like Neil Adams or something, even though he was influenced by Neil. But anyway, so I got really into it, and the other thing I picked up was Walt Simonson's Thor, and I was really hooked on that. And I would bring the comics to the park every time I got them, and I couldn't wait for the next month. And I was reading Thor versus Beta Ray Bill, and I loved Greek mythology and mythology in general. I was a big mythology guy, and comics were all a short form of that. So I really got hooked right away, and so I started toying with the idea of doing that for, man, I could actually pursue this, because I actually thought I could, I toyed with the idea of getting into movies, and because I like storytelling, and it was all there, it was a short form of movie making, and, storyboards, and, and it was just brilliant, I thought. And so, I asked the store owner how to get into Marvel, and there was a Marvel tryout book on the shelf, and I entered that. It was a contest they were having to find new talent. And so I entered it, and I sent it in like the day before the deadline, so I don't even know if it got there on time. But I didn't win. Mark Bagley actually won it. And
oh, wow.
So in the meantime, I was talking to the guy at the counter again. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and he told me that he knew that a guy named Mike Zeck lived in the area. He just happened to be the guy who drew the Secret Wars issue I read. So I'm like, really? So I looked. He lives in, I looked him up. He lives 6 minutes from my house. So I'm like, oh my God, he's right down the road in West Haven. I was right in Amity, which is the next town over, which is like 6 minutes away. So I called him up on the phone, believe it or not. And I left him a message, said, hey, I'm a local guy. Could you look at my work? And he called me back, and he said, yeah, send it to me. And I sent it to him, and he seemed to think I was pretty good. And so he called me back. When he called me back, he gave me some pointers, things I needed to work on. So I did. And in the meantime, I told the bartender, he started coming to my bar and hanging out a little bit. And then he invited me up to a convention to sit behind the table with him and draw. And that's how good he thought I was. Wow. Which was unbelievable to me. I was like, what? To me, Marvel was like this unattainable, it was like going to Oz, basically, Marvel, like Emerald City to me. That's how was almost mythical in a way. Spider-Man, because back in the 70s, that stuff was so visceral. And the Marvel at that time was just something so special. And so to me, it was just a near impossible thing I just didn't think it would ever happen. But here I was hanging out with a guy who worked for Marvel, and there was an editor there, and another guy who worked for DC, inking Batman. And, so it was pretty incredible that I got kind of brought in thanks to him. And so eventually the day came where he called me up and said, "Hey, I'm going into Marvel. Why don't you come with me?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." So he brought in my samples, and we went to Marvel and DC, and DC offered me Animal Man right away out of the starting gate.
Oh,
But
wow.
I had to prove I could meet the deadline. So I had to get in 8 pages within a week, which I did. I
Wow,
busted
8
my hump
pages
on
in a
it,
week.
and got in the 8 pages. But when I brought him in, they loved him. But the guy that week they originally asked to turn it down changed his mind, and that was Chaz Trog, and Grant Morrison was writing it. So in the meantime, I had a couple offers from Marvel. So G.I. Joe was the first one, and Moon Knight was the other one. And I took G.I. Joe because it was the very first thing I was offered, other than the Animal Man thing, which changed. And the G.I. Joe thing was a real trial by fire because I had to make sure all the vehicles and the characters, because they had toy licenses with the comic.
Right.
So the vehicle had to be right down to the nut and bolt, and they had to have it approved. And so I was like, "What?" I had never drawn a comic book before in my life, a full book, and here I got thrust right into it, like right into the grinder, to get this thing done on time and to make sure every vehicle was, it was tough. I almost didn't think I was going to do it because it was so much work to do, but I just grit my teeth and said, "You know what, grow up and get in there. There's an opportunity you waited for so long, so just do this thing and don't give up the opportunity." Because you gotta understand, I went from being a nightclub manager and bartender and things like that and having a nightlife, being around 500 people a night, social, to being around nobody all day and night. And so it was a real tough adjustment for me. I was like, I remember sitting there like, what, like, it was weird, to just such a complete polar opposite lifestyle.
Oh yeah, culture shock.
Yeah, it really was. So it was quite an adjustment. So I had a rough time of it early on. But again, for me, the career was more important, and I had the opportunity, and and here I am talking to you guys. So,
So, quick question for you on that. When you were saying about how they had the toys, you had to make everything exact, did they provide models and everything for you? Did they give you stuff so that so if they're like, you have to make it exactly like this, that they gave you the thing it had to be exactly like?
yeah, they sent me. I still have them up in the attic to this day.
Oh, wow.
I have action figures that were never taken out of the boxes, and I just used they were through the
Ron,
clear
my buddy, my friend.
yeah. So I don't know if they're worth anything, but I had a lot of the characters.
Oh, they're worth
I don't have all of them, but I have a few. So yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah,
A few schmeckles here and there.
Oh, there's unopened toys. Well, the toy market in general is pretty high, but you know how they do CGC grading for comics.
Oh, yeah.
They do something similar now for toys.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, the whole if you have unopened
boxes. I mean, they've just been sitting in a box for 30-something years. I mean, so
yeah,
they're in perfect condition.
Yeah, I'd say definitely do your due diligence. Before you
Yeah,
sell them.
go look through them.
Yeah, might have a couple 20, 30 grand or something.
So slightly off topic. What instruments and or positions in the band do you have?
I was
Do you do multiple things, or?
Yeah, I mean, I can play piano, bass, guitar, and some drums. But I had a band in high school, and then I had a band 20-something years ago in the late 90s, early 2000s. And we recorded an album. Actually, our band was called Ronin, and I wrote all the original songs. I started the band. Me and actually a fellow by the name of Howard Porter, who actually works for DC.
Yo, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so Howard and I had
Yeah.
shared a studio together as well for a few years,
Mhm.
and yeah, so we had a band together. He lived near me, and so it started out just he and I getting together and jamming. And I've been playing guitar since I was in 5th grade. And again, like comics, I kind of lost track of it for guitar less time, and then I got back into it, and Howard and I started jamming, and then before we knew it, we were playing at clubs all over New Haven County, and with a whole band. It was crazy
That's
how
cool.
it all came together. And so recorded an album, and then so as of recently started a band again because it's in your blood. You can't get rid of it, And so
Mhm.
I love writing songs, and we're doing a lot of covers right now, but we're in the process of writing some originals and some more originals in addition to the ones I wrote that long ago. And actually, I wrote a song, and Chris Daughtry, I don't even know who Chris Daughtry
Yep.
is. I got him to sing at one of my songs.
Oh wow.
Because I had a TV show in the works called Men of Wrath, based on the book I did with Jason Aaron, and it was getting picked up by USA Network, and then the Me Too movement happened and shot it right in the ass because they said even the fact that the name Men was in the title, they nixed it at that, because of that whole Harvey Weinstein thing.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I had written a song for it, and I wanted to use it in the opening credits, and they loved it. And I sent it. Jim Lee knew Chris Daughtry, and I'm friendly with Jim Lee, and
Of course.
he hooked me up with him, and Chris loved the song, and he sang it, sent me a copy of it. It's really good with his voice on it. I mean, it's just amazing. So yeah, so I'm
Really
back in
cool.
the band again, and we're actually playing next week at a festival here in Connecticut. So
Mhm.
we played a few other places. We just got started again. So
So
Very
since you're
cool.
back,
play guitar. I'm sorry, I play guitar as well, and
yeah.
lead
Do
guitar,
you
rhythm
sing?
guitar, acoustic guitar. I do backup vocals. We have a lead singer. Yeah.
So when you guys are doing shows and whatnot, is Dog Star going to be opening for you? Because you were tight with
It's funny you
Keanu.
mentioned that. When I saw Keanu, we hung out at Mohegan Sun, or no, this was in San Diego.
Mhm.
We talked about my band a little bit. I think I had sent him one of the videos of us playing Plush by Stone Temple Pilots, and he asked if we do covers. And for a second, I thought I think if we did a lot of covers, maybe he'd ask if we'd open for them, which would be amazing. I don't, but we have a ways to go before that happens. So if that ever happens, but it would be cool. Yeah, they're great. Dog Star is amazing. I couldn't believe how good they were. We saw them up at Foxwoods, and Keanu is an exceptional bass player. I didn't realize how good he was until I saw him live.
Now, how did you get started with Keanu?
It was like a bolt of lightning hit my backyard, and he came walking out of it.
Nice.
Sir, I'm sorry. It's called. It's sir. That's. I'm sorry. I know movies. It was a phone booth. Came out. And it was. Whoa, we have arrived.
Honestly, it was funny. It's sort of an interesting story because I was leaving Marvel. I had been with Marvel for over 30 something years.
Mhm.
And I wasn't really happy with it anymore, and for a variety of reasons. And I've been there so long, and I knew I'm not getting any younger. I'm not a spring chicken, so I wanted to maybe do something of my own, and and just take time to see what I want to do. So I wasn't going to renew my contract, and my contract was up. So in the meantime, right when I was working on Juggernaut, which was the last thing I'd done for Marvel,
Right.
I got a call or an email from somebody at Boom Studios, and they said, "Hey, can we talk to you about something?" And I said, "Yeah, give me a shout." So I got a call from this guy Matt Gagnon, and he said, "So listen, we're doing this book here with Keanu Reeves." I'm like, "Okay, the movie star," and he's like, "Yeah, he really loves your work, and He's like, we were wondering what your availability is. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute, slow down. I'm like, it was getting surreal right away. And so that's actually Raphael Grandpa's beautiful cover.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, well, listen, I thought he was just branding something. I didn't, I said, I didn't really hear that from him, so because I just kind of was bluffing them and I thought they were just saying it, and I just thought it was, because it was just too weird. And so I just thought he was branding something the way William Shatner did Tech Wars or whatever it was.
Right.
So I initially turned it down, but they said, well, can we at least just do a Zoom call with you and talk, give you more information on it? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll listen to what you have to say. But I had fully intended in my head to turn it down because I wanted to do my own thing. So that Wednesday comes 1:00. I press the Zoom meeting button, and there's Keanu staring at me, which was really
That's
trippy.
wild.
And him and a few of the other guys, Matt Kent too, and so yeah, we got into it for like 45 minutes, and he was giving me the pitch and said, "I want you," and so they must have told him. I didn't hear that from him, and so I heard it from him, and it was, what am I going to say? So he's like, well, if you decide to do this, blah, 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 blah. And he's trying to sweeten the pot. He's like, we'll go for a motorcycle ride because we're talking about motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, that sounds great. And so that's basically how it started. I mean, what am I going to turn down that guy? It's like,
no.
So, and it sounded cool. I mean, it sounded like it was very exciting. And I did tell them I needed a couple months to decompress because I've been working on books for so long, but I could see they were really frothing at the mouth to get working with me on it. And so, I only took 2 weeks off and I got in, and then all the stuff you're posting now, I got right into it. That's the first issue. And there's Keanu right there.
There you go.
Speaking of,
did you sit there and study his face or something?
Yeah, I deliberately didn't want it. You can see it transition a little bit. I deliberately didn't use photographs because I noticed I didn't want it to look like Keanu Reeves, the actor. I wanted it to breathe as a character on its own. Mm-hmm. But we would Skype a lot, and I would be looking at his face, just studying it with my eyes, and then it would filter through my own imagination. And the funny thing is how much it does look like him in spots anyway. Yeah. But more of an animated version of him. So there's a couple in there that look exactly like him, but you can see in other spots where it's filtering through the character. You can see the character itself coming through a little more, where it's not the actor. And that was my intention. It was to have it be more believable as a character and not Keanu Reeves playing a character. Even though he's the obvious impetus and guy who's going to play him. So yeah, that's basically how it all started. And there you go. It's nice to see it on the screen like this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And seeing. Oh, sorry.
No, Carrie, you go.
Oh, well, okay. Just real short. Seeing it immediately, you go, oh, this is exactly why he wanted you and was taking the time to. Will you really please think about it? Come on, because good God, this is wonderful. It is like a chef's kiss of a match. You're just perfect for this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, well, it almost didn't happen because they had another artist on it, and it fell through for whatever reasons. I mean, I know the reason, but it's not my business to discuss it. But
right.
But he had drawn the whole first issue, from what I gather.
Oh wow!
But then it fell through, so they dumped it, and so they were had been floundering for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And and then they asked me to come in, and I got this stuff done in a couple of months. I think this 48-pager, and we launched it. And I realized too that when they said he loves your work, I was like, what? I couldn't fathom the idea that Keanu Reeves was a comic book reader and was digging my work, and I was like, well, it was very trippy because if you knew like me and Howard, for instance, I was always riffing on Keanu, like imitating him, before I ever knew him, like, because I love the movie Devil's Advocate, so I was always imitating his accent in that, and other movies, and Constantine and things like that. So it was just it's so trippy to hear this, like it was almost, it's one of those things you feel like it was kind of meant to be, I guess. But
try not to do your impression for him.
You know what scares me, John?
That was great.
She gets better. I lose the taste, and I hate her for it.
Oh my God! Wow.
And he, I imitated him on a couple of interviews on we were standing next to each other.
Yeah.
Hey, Garney. Yeah, like he always says, "Hey, Garney," whenever we get on. Like,
what?
That reminds me. A long time ago, we had the guy who played Keanu on Mad TV, and he did a bumper for us. So I think I'll fit that into your video here.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah. Go for it. Well, I was just going to ask real quick on page 1. Was this direction for the third panel here with him on the bench, or?
Yeah, it was. There was some reference to it in the script. I mean, interestingly enough, I didn't know any of this kind of lore about Keanu. I mean, I wasn't a follower to that degree. Like, I knew his movies and I would riff on his movies and stuff. So they put that in script, saying what they call it, sad Keanu. Could you do a sad Keanu, sad Keanu panel? And I was like, what's that? And then I saw the picture and I was like, oh, okay. And it's, I did it a little differently. And he's a little, actually looking at that, I drew him way too bulky there. I'm going to critique myself. And I put so much work into the backgrounds and the rain and everything. I wanted it to feel really authentic. But yeah, so that's what that was about. It was supposed to be a little reference to that.
Your I'd say that is the book is beautiful. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Terry.
I'd say instead of sad Keanu, that is utterly desolate Keanu.
Yeah, more angry.
It's just the rain. Just I don't give a shit, dude.
Yeah, and I put the lightning bolt.
It's lovely though.
And I tried to really, it's interesting to see what the other guy had drawn, because I didn't see what the other guy had drawn, and then what I had drawn. The differences between it. So, but I put the lightning bolt behind the panels just to introduce the character, because he was born of that. So
right. And then kind of switching gears just briefly, because I know when we had our interview, I brought up, like, again, I'm a huge Ultimate fan, and I know you had worked with Jason on Ultimate Captain America, and some of us hadn't. Like Carrie has read it before, but someone like Leo had never read the book, and I seem to recall.
Shame.
Yeah, shame, Leo. But what was it, Leo? You said that you were just kind of blown away by like how much Nuke, or the ultimate version of Nuke, was just trying so hard to break Captain America, and Captain Carey's like, "Fuck you, man! I'm Captain America." Like, you think everything you're telling me I didn't already know, or worse? Like, please.
Yeah, Jason really did an amazing job writing that character. It was one of my favorite projects I'd worked on for the story. I love that incarnation, the other universe version of Cap, Ultimate, and because he was really tough and gritty, and kind of identified with it a little more than the Boy Scout, just really well written. And I loved, for me, making comics should feel like you're watching a movie. And Jason is, he has a really great literary sense. He's also influenced by really good good movies, obviously Apocalypse Now being one of them.
Oh yeah.
The whole story has an Apocalypse Now flavor to it. So I was really into the story. And then the fight scenes, and I love that you're showing this. This is great. I haven't looked at this in so long. Yeah. I had a ball drawing it, really making the movie come to life, and that's the thing that really jazzes me, is making it real, making it actually come to life, and you're in it. And like even that top panel where he's coming out of the the stairwell, and seeing the depth in the city, and it's a real space,
Right.
I just love doing that, really creating the movement and the reality. It's fun.
Well, you mentioned Jason's writing, but the story was great, but even better was your portrayal of what Cap is going through.
Thank you.
Just later on in the storyline when he's in that cell and kept on trying to break free and everything, you conveyed everything. There was feeling in your drawings.
Thank you. Yeah, excuse me. It's important to for the reader to feel something. It can't be just bland drawings. You have to really emphasize it. It could be the most subtle look. It's one of the things I love about Clint Eastwood. He's not Daniel Day-Lewis, but what he does really well is he conveys a lot with very little.
Right.
You could just a glance and I try to do that in the drawings as best I can. Even her face there, just a little bit in behind the eyes, her eyes are kind of scowled in, and just the littlest things make a difference. Attitude and what you're reading, and so you believe these characters are existing,
right?
So
you really seem to have a mind out for what the letterer is going to need as well. In in all of your illustrations, you have perfect space for which can be difficult. I know there are a lot of people in there ends up with like, oh, I had this great piece of art, but somebody had to put a boom somewhere, and so it covered up this section of it.
So you have to understand composition. I mean, it's not just for for the lettering, obviously, but if you understand composition and how things work in composition, like I loved studying photography, like Ansel Adams, or and how things off center make it more interesting, and tilting the camera, and all kinds of shapes that define the panel in an abstract way, which you need to account for some negative space in there. And so I always think in terms of things off center, to the left, to the right, but never really, I don't show too much dead center if I don't have to. So, because it just makes for more interesting composition. And so because of that, I'm conscious of where the lettering could go. Sometimes I still get annoyed because I'm like, why did you put the balloon there when you have all this space over here? But for the most part, they pick up on it pretty well. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And yeah, go Jeff.
Oh no, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, like, especially with this story, like I said, when you first read it, like I said, I just read it. I was like, I'm a huge Ultimate fan, so I'm like, oh wow, this is great. This is New Age. And then when I reread it later on, I noticed more of like the Apocalypse Now ish references and things, and I was like, the additional levels to it. And I just, like, again, I know that's some of that's you and some of that's Jason, but it was just one of those things. I was like, this is why, personally speaking, I've always loved the Ultimate Universes, because you had the freedom to take the character there. In the mainstream Marvel, you obviously couldn't, because their Captain America isn't as brash, somewhat conservative.
It's a good excuse to get away with it. I mean, it's a different universe, different alternate reality.
Yeah,
it's a brilliant sort of tactic to get away with a lot of things, sometimes too much, I think. But in this case, it really works well. I mean, it'd be interesting to see them do that with Superman or something like that, which they might have. I don't follow it as much. So.
Injustice was kind of only it was ridiculously dark.
You mean, is that, well, I remember watching a cartoon of Superman where the Joker kills Lois or something, or.
Yep. That's Injustice.
Yeah.
And then he becomes like a complete mental case, I guess.
Oh yeah. It's very dark, very, very dark.
And he,
Um,
yeah, I watched some of the animated versions of that on YouTube.
Mhm.
And like, wow, something nice. And actually, doesn't what's her name kill Batman? Shoots him in the head or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But and then kind of moving on, and then you also did a similar, just fantastic work on Wolverine Weapon X with again pairing up with Jason, and I know that was a big hit. And Carrie has some questions about that. So Carrie, take it away.
well, first off, I love Jason Aaron's work.
Jerry.
Nation. But yeah, he's it's the Jason Aaron Nation. There we go. That's what I was going for. But he has this habit of using different artists for each arc of something that he's writing. And so he had you do a couple, like you started this one, and then there was a break when there was the mental hospital, which you at least got to build it, and then somebody else took over, and then you take back over again later as the different arcs go through. So is that something that you're used to doing with him? I mean, are you like one of his regular on call? Like,
I was the first artist he worked with on an arc, which was Get Mystique. He had done one story, I think, but then we did Get Mystique. Wow. And so that was his first actual arc. I mean, I had already been in the business for a long time. And then, usually like with any success, I mean, it was so successful that they wanted us to do more, and he was happy to do it because I helped him, make it a success evidently. And so Marvel thought that. And so they just asked us to keep doing these things. So I don't know how much of that was him or not, but we just kept working together. It's just one of those things. I don't know how it happened. I think we just enjoyed each other's work. We didn't talk a whole lot. I mean, he's not a very talkative guy. He's very quiet. But I loved the way he writes, and so I really I loved Get Mystique was one of my favorite things I had drawn too. I loved Wild West stuff. I'm a big Western fan. And we got to jump back and forth in time in that one. And, and then this came along. So.
I was going to ask you after reading BRZRKR what your favorite time period is to actually like do the art for, because like you did well with all of them, but like it's really intense stuff.
Yeah, I mean there was a few different spots in there for sure. I mean, did you guys happen to read the latest 48 pager we did called Lost Book of B?
No, I didn't.
No.
Yeah, you'll love that if you love time. When I had mentioned to Matt and Keanu, I said I love doing period pieces, and I mean that. It's just because each era has such a particular feel and look to it, and whether it be the 20s and 30s or the Wild West in the 1800s, or in this one we got to go back even farther to the times of Genghis Khan. And so it was fun to research, the Bulgars and the Mongols and the whole thing, and the costuming and again, for me, it's like making a movie. It's a lot of work for me. I'm responsible for the biggest meat of it to get it done. And I have to sit my ass in the chair, and it's not easy to this day. I'm 61, and I've spent so much time. I've done so much work and spent so much time sitting at a table. So it's, as of late, I'm restless now, and I'm only picking and choosing things here and there to do. But I do love the craft of it, and I love making the movie, and I love making the sets authentic and the costuming. Try, everybody makes mistakes, and but that's the fun part for me is that. So do you have? Can I share something on here?
Sure, absolutely.
How do I do
that? Leo?
Leo.
Down at
you should. There should be a present button on the bottom. Okay. So if you have like and if you have a window open.
All right, let me open something up here, and I'll show
Yeah.
you. I'll show you the Lost Book.
Oh, cool.
That-
You can either
Yeah.
share it. You can either share it a full screen or just a window. Just a window may be better for you.
Share the window. Let's see. So sharing works best. Same screen. Let's see. Share screen. Choose window. There we go. All right. Can you see that?
Not yet. As soon as it
Not
pops
yet.
up,
Okay. Hold on. How about now?
oh, it's coming up. Here we go.
There we go. So
Wow.
this is the Lost Book of B. And this is
Mhm.
all in the time of Genghis Khan.
Yeah. Awesome. And especially, I mean, I have a degree in history, Ron. So like the detail, like I've always really appreciate when you can tell like people who do historical books or things take place in a certain period when they just did what I kind of call the basic cliff notes of history,
Right.
but when you can tell they did the research, like how the people
Yeah,
dressed.
I
and
spent a
looked.
lot of time, even getting the shields right, the things the horses wore,
Mhm.
the Bulgar uniforms,
Mhm.
everything, and I just had a ball trying to create this world, and it's brutal. It's a brutal time,
Yeah.
they're boiling B here in Berserker there.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, you guys are doing that. Jason's doing the Berserker Fistful of Bullets series. So you guys are expanding because, like you said, you have this character that's a half man, half immortal, guy. So it's kind of like the same way I feel like they do with certain characters who've been around a while, like how like Mike Mignola can always pick a story from a certain period in Hellboy's career and just like, oh yeah, fill in the blank here. You guys have that because he's been around for so long.
And that's the thing. The stories are endless. I mean, you could
exactly
1,000 years. But even like here, I just love doing these cinematic panels. Vistas of landscapes and cinematography, and being a director of cinematography.
Mhm. Yeah.
These battle scenes are just
Well,
I mean,
and
I look at myself. I'm like, how the hell did I draw all that?
Yeah, and also, Ron, you kind of have to look at that now because these days, comic books, they're so marketable now. Like, I like you kind of can understand why like someone like Mark Millar is just so big on rights and talking to things because things get picked up by studios and
Yeah. Well, this
so
is already going to be a Netflix movie and TV show, animated
Mhm.
series.
yeah.
The animated series starts in the fall. It's going to start production in the fall. It's
Wow.
an animated style.
That's
and
awesome.
it's probably sometime next year. The script's been written for the movie.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, this was a ball to draw. I mean, I really tried to make it feel real, and again, I'm just looking at it, not admiring my stuff, but it's just fun to see it be real.
You should admire your work. You're amazing. And that's one of the best things, is the best feelings when you're like, you do something and you're like, I'm so proud of me. I did so good.
For me, I want the
That's
reader to feel the same sense of like escape, like all these costumes and this, you want to really feel like you're there in the warmth. And I got to give Bill Crabtree all kinds of credit. He's a great colorist. He really works with my stuff very well. We had a couple of talks in the beginning,
Mhm.
so I could convey to him what I was thinking, what I wanted, and he's probably the only colorist that once I had those first two talks with, I never had to worry about everything that came in, minus a couple little things, was dead on and really cool.
Right.
And I don't mean dead on like I'm taking credit for what he's doing, but I mean just dead on in what he needed to do to complement my pen and ink.
Mhm.
He didn't go overboard with Photoshop coloring or anything. He added just the right amount of lighting, and he's really great, and I'm really happy. See, I love this. This reminds me of Troy. Troy, the armies and the battle,
Hell yeah.
and like Game of Thrones kind of stuff. And Yeah, I love this stuff. Anyway,
I'm just
we
amazed by like all the detail and everything. Like you can see everybody's hands and shit, and like everybody's weapons, and everybody's got something different going on their face,
Hey,
and like,
this
yeah.
this
oh wow,
this catapult was the biggest bitch to figure out. It's a combination. I invented it myself by combining a couple of different things because I couldn't find an accurate representation from that time period. So I just made it this gigantic, spiky looking thing that Genghis Khan might have, this page sat for a long time before I went back to finally finish it because I was struggling with trying to figure out how to make the panel work. And but it's great. You see all these dead corpses piled up on top of it, and then they get flung over the wall.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
Yeah, but
Then he comes up out of it like he was in they hid him in the corpses like a Trojan horse.
oh yeah,
yeah,
And he
and
pops out of the corpses and starts
yeah.
decimating everyone.
And what it kind of reminds me of is kind of like the attention to detail. Like I saw it and I was like, oh my God, the attention to detail kind of reminded me of the late great Tim Sale. Like sometimes you would just look at Tim's work and he would just have so many details in the background.
Yeah.
And and it's
Tim to me, his sense of composition was inspiring. I remember seeing what was it, The Long Halloween or something, and I remember something with a biplane, and just the way he put the camera with the cables of the biplane, and it was just perfect composition and beautifully done. I was just blown away by it. Yeah, and I was sad because guys like him and now John Cassidy, it's sad. They're such great talents, and for the same reasons. This year was I had 300 in my head,
right
when the Persians came up on the big beasts, and I just I draw upon a lot of the influence I have, the things I love, and I wanted this to feel visceral and real, like the same spectacle that we saw in 300. And then the battle scene up here, if you look, all these little things going on, I wanted it to feel like real Chinese ancient art,
No.
The elongated necks on the horses and everything has that sort of feel to it. Like I'm half looking at reality and I'm partially just catching a skew of like something I would see on a pot or some sort of wall motif, mosaic of some sort. It's got that.
Yeah, I wanted it to feel ancient. I'm glad you picked up on that. But
you did it. So
you did it, Ron. You did
it, Ron. We are proud of you.
Good. Glasses raised for Ron, everybody. The glasses raised.
Just
real quick, El Guapo. Oh shit.
No.
I got ahead of you. Before we went on, I wanted, this had been asked a little bit ago, is the animated series on any specific platform? I just didn't want to leave his question unanswered.
Yeah, it'll be on Netflix.
Okay.
Nice. I'd have that.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I was just gonna be silly, but Ron, are you a gamer?
No, my son is like ridiculous. It's funny because, again, I'm 61 and I played games like, actually there was a game called Berserk that I played back in the early 80s or mid 80s. I played that, and I played, stuff like Asteroids and things like that, and then I got addicted to Pac-Man for a while, really bad, like where I'd go to bed and I remember one day playing it for 12 hours straight.
Jeez.
And I went to bed and it was all imprinted on my eye sockets. Like I kept seeing the little, literally the game was in my brain so much, and that's when I knew I had to stop. But the modern stuff, I just watch my son because he's so amazing at it, like Fortnite and all these other things, God of War and all this stuff. And it's amazing to watch him. I mean, he's just next level. And,
Yeah. Well, the reason why I brought it up, ask him if he has this game. It's called Ghost of Tsushima. And
I don't think he does, but I'll ask him.
Yeah, it's actually your artwork reminds me a lot of it. It's Genghis Khan as he's taking on the samurais.
Oh,
And
cool.
there's one lone samurai that has to like go against his beliefs in order to like save his country.
Wow.
It's extremely violent, and the artwork in the game, it's extremely beautiful.
What's
but your
it called again? God of what is it?
Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of
All
Tsushima.
right.
We'll send it to you.
Awesome. Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Yeah, this was a fun page to do, again, trying to make it authentic and feel real, like the staircase and it's a mix and match of different things I could find. And then I created this whole thing, this palace myself, and
Their architecture is so delicate and purposeful, very simplistic, but then like with those columns you have it gives the envisionment of being very strong, and at the same time some things are made out of paper, and that just looks, sorry, I geek out over this stuff, but yeah. I love all it was you can see it that way.
It was kind of a stone staircase, and I changed it because I'm like, no, if it's a palace, it's going to have all what you just said. It's going to have the windows and the and the banisters and the things like the ancient stuff. So I had a ball drawing this sequence here.
Nice.
And here he's talking to Genghis Khan,
cranes.
And he's high on opiates. Yeah, this I added myself because here's the dialogue: "We are conquerors. You should be basking in glory. We are spreading our seeds across the earth." And so, because it was just called for that, they just kept talking. And so I slipped. This is where I try to add things, and I just thought it would be a nice with this dialogue. We are spreading our seed across the earth to show these cranes. Because in Japanese culture, cranes are a symbol of life, and they, I actually have a tattoo on my shoulder of two cranes holding a branch of the tree of life in it. When my first daughter was born, it's me and her. And so when I read that, it struck me that way. So that's why I designed this panel that way, to support the dialogue in a more interesting metaphorical fashion, and then we cut back. It's a nice break from them. And we see the life going by, and they're this beautiful setting, and then, so anyway, we cut back in, and then
boom. Just anyway, look, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, don't put yourself down, Ron. It's great. Believe, man. Believe in yourself.
I'm not putting myself down.
I know. It's all good. But no, but we're coming up on an hour.
Really, an hour already?
Yeah, it's already an hour, man. We're just having so much fun. You're like, wow, this thing is great. More people should drink it.
If you have time, could I ask you questions about 3 specific panels? It's not like, do you remember what you were doing when you wrote this? It was about technique used on them. And so, okay, this is the first one. I gave him to Leo ahead of time, so he'd be ready. Over on the cover there, you did that cover, correct?
Yeah, the adamantium.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you drew the claws, I know obviously the inking makes it a lot greener, but you use those. I just had him choose this one because it's a large amount of claws. But throughout it, they have the like laser claws versus Wolverine's adamantium claws. But how did you draw? Was it just kind of like lines, and then like, oh, the colorist is going to go over them, or did you have very specific widths and stuff?
No, it's just lines, and then you erase. You use an eraser, and just try to create a double toe with an eraser, like a kneaded eraser, and then the colorist just picks up off that.
Okay.
It's a great effect. I mean, it really looks cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all. That's all it is. It's all pencil. That's an actual pencil cover. It's not ink.
Oh wow. Okay.
I did that whole series in pencil. because at that time I was experimenting a lot with different techniques, and I wanted to just try just printing pencil because there's something extraordinarily beautiful about it when it's done correctly. If it's not done right, it can look like a disaster because it's so rough. But when it's done right, it's actually a very beautiful way to get texture and things like that. And also, I was getting a little bit, if you know, in my career at that point, I worked with just inkers all the time, and I was getting tired of it because I felt like it was never 100% me. Because it was always and nothing against the inkers I worked with. I mean, they're all great, whatever. But it's never fully you. And I, as an artist, I want it to be me. That's expressing this that I'm giving out. And so I stopped using inkers and I just started playing around with pencil. And then I eventually just started inking my own work. So it was just fully me. So, and this is the result of that.
I was going to say this, like, there's a lot of red, and the inker did a good job, but just how did you plan to lay out every single one of the back panels when you had that laying on top of it? Was it, I mean, it had to be somewhat difficult to fit everything in as people are going in order to look at it, but
I've always played
this needed
around
to be recognized.
I've always played around with these kinds of layouts. I mean, there's one I did in the Hulk that I did with John Byrne, which was to backtrack for a second, was a goof that I started working with him. But where the Hulk is busting through the pages and all the panels are flying apart, and it's a similar layout. There's just all these panels, and the Hulk's just busting through, and I did all the action going on in each of those. There's like 60 panels on it, and it's similar to this. And it's just one of those things. I laid it out, and I just try to figure out a way to make the composition pleasing, and then you just work it all in there. There's no real secret to it. I just kept working at it until I got it the way I wanted it to look. So
I just love how you were able to put so much into the small things behind it to build the whole story up in the one page. Like, I mean, I've seen some great splash pages, but having the whole kind of like the timeline of the fight, but it all be instants, if I'm making sense at all.
No, I know what you mean. Like snapshots in time, but there's, you try to create a sense. Again, you were saying something about the space where you could have word balloons and stuff, but again, it's about the composition, and the trick is making each panel breathable enough that you can read it in sequence and not have your eye be confused. It's a harder thing to pull off than a lot of people realize, because I've seen, some, layouts like this where it's so busy that you can't tell what's going on. But I really make an effort to try to make it clear, at the same time have a lot in there. And it's just about pulling the camera back and moving in and back again, and close-ups and alternating space so it's breathable, and then giving them that big punch in the gut with the double spread of the two big figures, to make it impressive. So I could have just handled that. I could have just handled that without putting the big figures in, but I just wanted to do something different, So
it's great. And I have one last one, Leo. Sorry if I'm bugging you about things that seem weird.
No. I love
it's because I don't understand.
I don't get to look at stuff too much and talk about it. So I haven't even looked at this in years. So it's cool to see.
Okay, so this is my weird question on this one. And especially now that you're saying it was just done in the pencils going through. With the helicopter coming in and we see the shadowing going, I mean, obviously some of that is the colors going in. But when you did like the shadows below, and when you did the propellers, how they kind of fade out, was there just like little tad bits of propeller going out, or was that something entirely done afterwards by the color that they kind of faded it out? Or
no, I indicate it, I'll take the pencil and I do a very blurry, smudgy sort of, gradation, and then I just
Okay.
you tell the colorist to use a filter in Photoshop, a blur filter, which in
Okay.
Photoshop it's a thing called a blur filter, and you can just run you take a piece of it and you surround it with a lasso, and then you just use a blur filter that adjusts the blur on it. It's a beautiful thing you can use. I mean, we live in a day and age with technology that this kind of stuff can happen, so that's basically how that's done. But it starts with a smudgy pencil.
And you use so much in this series of the shading, and you do like a lot of if you can't, you guys might not be able to see it so well depending on what size of a screen you're looking at, but when you go into some of these panels, the hair, the shadows on the face, the shadows on, I'm like pointing, nobody can see where my finger's going, on the missile array and stuff are done in very thin, like hatching and cross hatching and things like that to emphasize the coloring on it, the shading on it. It's amazing.
Thank you. Well,
in depth, like when you said you were doing it from the pencil, I was just like, seriously, wait, because I had this one to ask you about, and it was like, wow.
Yeah, well, I do the pencil. I was doing the pencils, and you have to make sure it's tight. Like if you look at the male figure with the knife in the splash page, those lines are very delineated and deliberate. So they can be adjusted in digitally, so they mimic inking. That's why you have to be very careful and make sure, and the crane and all those things have to be very deliberate, the lines, and then I can get into the shading and the penciling on other things. But yeah, it's a great technique, and I would just adjust it to the darkness that I wanted the colorist to be able to work with, and then leave it just enough for him to adjust if he needed to. But I had a very deliberate, thing in my head of how dark I wanted it to be, and then give it to the colorist that way, so they couldn't mess it up. But yeah, it's a great effect. I love looking back at this. It's awesome.
So how much control do you have over the coloring when it goes in? So, I mean, you aren't the colorist, but are you able to give the palette, or is that something that is worked on with a team of you? Like, well, this is the feel we're going, let's use this one, or?
No, I mean, a lot. I mean, I worked with this guy, Matt Miller, and Matt was a real champ because I was heavy on him a lot. But when it was all said and done, it was gorgeous, but I really had things in my head that I wanted a certain way. And he was very good about, taking the feedback and wasn't defensive at all. And there were other colorists that didn't take it quite as well. One guy almost had a meltdown that I worked with. I won't say his name, where I just backed off because he literally he said he couldn't work the whole day after he got my notes. And I was like, okay. So I backed off on him, and, and then once I backed off, he started asking me. And I'm like, well, I don't want to say anything that, because I don't want you to feel like, and then he sucked it up and he got better over time. But Matt was a real champ. And, and like on Daredevil, for instance, Daredevil was one of my favorite things I'd ever worked on, probably in the top one or two. And I had a very specific thing in my head that I wanted to do with the coloring, to the point where I almost didn't do the book because initially it clashed with the editor. And the editor was like, well, I want all these neon colors. And I'm like, well, look, why don't you just do the book then? That's basically what I said. And she says, oh, no, I just get hired to tell people what to do. I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm like, well, you're not telling me what to do. I got hired to do this. I've been doing this for, 50 something years, basically. I've been drawing for 50 years and illustrating and coloring. I know what I'm doing. But I quit the book before I even got started, because, and then I went to the editor and said, listen, all the best to you, but this isn't where I want to go with it. He's like, no. And then he went to the editor and they called me back and they were like, oh, absolutely. We get it. Whatever you want to do. Because I had such a strong vision in my head of how I wanted to look. I wanted to look like we were looking through Matt Murdock's eyes through the whole book for the most part, especially the first issue.
Cool.
So we used a lot of dot patterns and things and sort of hazy monochromatic look with splashes of bright color like reds and and things like that. So I was sending the colorist a lot of black and white photos with just a blast of red on a rose, for instance. And I said, and that's how I wanted to approach it. I wanted the reader to feel like they were Matt Murdock in a way, So, so I had a very deliberate vision in my head about how I wanted it to look, and it ultimately was, in my view, one of my favorite things I've done, and that I worked with Matt on, and he was great about it, and we really pulled off a really nice, different looking book, I thought. So yeah, I definitely have, even working with on Jason Aaron, I worked with Jason Keith, the colors. He's great, and he was very good about taking the feedback too. And by the time I got to BRZRKR, I had to suck it up because Keanu was very, very. I'd never worked with anybody like that before. Mm-hmm. No, I never got notes really from writers ever, but Keanu was a completely different animal. He was like, yeah, and I didn't. It was funny because I initially thought he was just branding it, but it was the complete opposite. He was very involved and very, and we would talk and go over things, and a couple of things I'd disagree with him on, not too many. Most of the time it was good feedback or but it was always just because he had something in his head he wanted a certain way. Yeah, so you have to be that way and be professional. That's what you're in it for.
Right.
Yeah.
And I try to convey that to the colorists and and I have to, walk the walk myself, so that's the way it is. Some guys aren't. I remember I talked to a colorist years ago, way back on JLA, and I asked him if he was okay with me giving, because I didn't like the way the coloring was looking. He looked like he was phoning it in and just barely putting any effort into it. He was just putting in flat, like a flatter. He must have had a flatter or something. Mm-hmm. Very flat, unimpressive coloring, and plus it was on newsprint. So if it was going to be on newsprint paper, then you needed to put a little more effort into it. And I didn't say that, but I did ask him if he was okay with it. And he goes, yeah, if it fits in with my style. So I was like, yeah, okay, I can see where this guy's a prima donna, And I mean, I thought that was really nice. So I just didn't even bother with it after that. So,
Well, thank you. I ask a bunch of tedious questions, I know, but I love it when you answer.
I talk a lot because I'm cooped up so much. I don't get to talk.
It's all good. So
I get to roll all this stuff out to you guys.
It's all good. We appreciate it.
These questions here on this.
Yeah. So we appreciate it. So we're coming up on that time. So thank you so much, Ron, for taking the time to speak with us. It was just absolutely fantastic. And before we get
comments.
Yeah. And before we go, what's the best way for Leo, you're not asking about Blue Sky.
What?
All right, go, Leo.
No. I normally ask everybody if where do you like people interacting with you? And it's also a follow-up is, are you using Blue Sky? Because I'm trying to push Blue Sky.
What's Blue Sky?
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a social media
Good
platform
job,
that's
Ron.
going nowhere.
Good job.
I'm being serious.
No worries. It's like it's like Twitter, but it's like without all the like negative stuff from Twitter.
Yeah,
because it hasn't gotten there yet.
I read things, and I'm not going to get into any because people have all their points of view of everything. But man, it's amazing how Twitter, how it's brainwashed the entire population of the earth into thinking that the world revolves around their opinions, and how brave it's made them, and how shitty it's made them, and how it's brought out the worst people. And it's a real sad state of affairs. No matter what your opinions are or what you believe in one political spectrum or the other, I won't get into any of that. But what I will say is just how shitty people are behaving,
Yes.
And it's sad because you're not going to walk up to somebody on the street and talk to them that way.
Right.
And the world doesn't revolve around your opinions. You know, your head does. Only your head is revolve around your own opinion.
Right.
And so, you know, it's sad, and it's okay to have an opinion. We all do, you know, but don't think that you don't allow your opinion to be injected with an undercurrent of smug, distasteful, rude rhetoric. You know what I mean? It's just sad. You know, because I remember a world not so long ago before that, you know, before, and things were a lot more polite, you know, and a lot less contentious and a lot less, you know, so it's hard to stomach a lot of it now, but I do it because I don't get involved in political discussions or anything like that, but I use it for my work, you know, and I try to present my work to people, and, you know, but you can't help but read what people are saying, you know, and it's pretty crappy. So anyway, nothing but love from this end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But regarding social media, what is the best way, like, you know, people can get in touch with you if they want, or anything? Just, you know, in case anybody here was like, wow, that Ron Garney guy is really cool, I want to follow his work, and they were like, here.
Ron Garney's a dickhead.
No, no. Well, we did not say that. We did. Yeah, we're not getting canceled for that
It
one.
wouldn't be the first time. Yeah, I honestly just the usuals. I'm on Instagram. Instagram's a great utility because it, aside from, again, all that stuff I was just talking about, it's like the equivalent of being a musician playing on stage for people, but it's for an artist. You know, you get to put your art on there, and it's like playing a song, and you get, you know, people liking it or not, you know, and the trick is to not allow the amount of likes you get or attention you get to dictate whether it's good or not, you know, because, you know, it's all algorithms and how much, you know, a lot of people are using it to show technique, and they tend to get a lot of play and a lot of likes and things, but I don't have time for that. I've got kids, and, you know, so I'm not as committed in that fashion, but I do post things. So it's nice to let people see what I'm doing, and to get, you know, it's nice to get the positive feedback. I love the fans. The fans are the best, you know, because I was saying this on stage at the San Diego Con recently. We ended our panel, the BRZRKR panel, and for whatever reason, Keanu looked at me and asked me to say the last word. So I just said that, you know, and I mean this, that it's about you guys, in that we live in a time where, you know, it's very special that I get to hear from people how positive what I'm doing is affecting them in such a cool way, and they're so enthusiastic, and they, you know, like yourselves, and you're posting my work and talking about it and being so fascinated with it, and I feel very fortunate, you know, that we live in a time that I get to hear that. You know, who wouldn't love to have people walk up to you and say, you know, how great your stuff is or your work, you know? So it's an amazing thing. So I am eternally grateful for you and for the fans and for everybody who, you know, take the minutes to read it and to offer their, you know, love for it. So nothing but love back. So
awesome. Well said,
We
sir.
highly appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ron Garney is a class act, everybody. You know, definitely worth the listen.
Yeah, fuck all you guys. Fuck all this romantic bullshit. Yeah, the fans suck. Shit heels, motherfucking shit.
Well,
So we're going to have a clip now of your intro followed by, and at the end of the show.
Outro.
Yeah.
Ron,
What a perfect bookend.
yeah, exactly. Well, but seriously, no, Ron, thank you so much for joining us. This is awesome. You know, we'll definitely, you know, we'll keep an eye on everything. You know, and honest, again, if you have new stuff coming out, we'd be more than glad to have you back on the show. You know,
thank you very much,
you
gentlemen
know,
and lady, my
yes.
lady.
Yeah, yep, and squirrel. And squirrel. And
You want me to leave the studio and then press upload, right? Or something?
yeah.
Leave studio
Yes.
and then upload. If there's an issue, I'll send a link to Drew to send to you afterwards. So if something messes up, don't worry about it. You'll get a link later where you can complete the upload.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, people.
All right.
Thank
you very much.
Have a good night,
Have a good
sir.
one,
So nice to meet you, sir.
You
Have a
too.
good
Good
evening.
to see you again, buddy. Have a good one.
All right. Leave an open uploads page.
There
Yep.
we go.
Sure.
That
I'm
was
turning
awesome.
into a fangirl for everyone at this point.
Hold on a second. You're welcome.
Thank
So,
you.
I didn't want to bring this up during the show, but like Berserker. Hold on. I was thinking of asking him, where did the idea come from if he talked to Keanu about it? Like, we did get the sad Keanu frame. I love that they put that in there. But is the whole thing about Berserker being an immortal because people think Keanu's an immortal?
Hold on. Wait. I can
do
answer
not
that
know.
because I didn't get to do my impressions. So hold on. I think that is the most excellent question, Leo. But you would have to ask the real Keanu, not me, Theodore Ted Logan. But I do hope that you party on and have a most excellent day.
He came back.
Ron's back.
Ron, you decided to join us for news.
This is my son, actually. When I went to, it's my boy. He's the gamer.
Hi.
What's the game? It was Ghost.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I played it.
Yeah.
There you go. See? Good taste, everybody.
Yeah, show it to your dad because what he showed us with the artwork reminded me of the game. Absolutely love the game. And are you playing Black Myth Wukong?
I'm not, but I heard it's really good.
Oh my god, it's so good. Definitely try it out.
I will. Definitely.
You can't come over this way so you can see it. There you go.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast where we tell you what to play.
Yes.
Well, he's already playing this stuff. It's like I'm so impressed with him with the things he does, like the way he can play them. It's just amazing. I'm I'm a sort of retarded in that fashion. Stuff. I mean, I can play it. I just don't put the energy like he does. Anyway, so I came back because I left the studio and then it said that an error had occurred.
Okay.
Oh.
So
yeah,
should I try it again?
Yeah, give it a try. So leave studio and then and if it errors out again, don't worry about it. I'll send you a link afterwards. You just need to open it up on the computer that you used to for tonight's call.
Okay, so leave studio and then press
the uploads.
Well, it didn't say. It said leave and upload. It said.
Leave and upload. Yep.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, son of Ron Garney.
Sir. Son of Garney. All right.
Son of Garney. Mog.
Okay, listen. We still have to do the news. So listen, this is what I just proposed for it. Let's just bang the news out. We'll save our thoughts on it at the end. Just, let's just do that.
Okay. Well, we'll kick it off with this.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
Yeah, speaking of Deadly Grounds, I just placed an order. I got 10 bags coming hopefully tomorrow.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Chocolate, pumpkin, and chocolate raspberry. Oh my god, I love the chocolate raspberry.
That's what I have. I need to actually make some. I'm kind of lazy.
I didn't say anything. Variant Watch.
Variant Watch.
Hold on, I'll stop.
Another button.
Alcohol.
Take the alcohol.
This stuff.
Okay. Yep. Dangerous. Yep. Dangerous.
Just mute. Tor. Done. That's what I've been doing all show.
That's what you've been doing all show, man. All right. So this is me to start. So everybody, to coincide with the release of the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics this month, Marvel Comics is going to feature artist Bengus's original Marvel vs. Capcom character illustrations in a new line of variant covers that will be available this December. So as we know, Marvel vs. Capcom has been creating debate among fans for over 25 years, known for the gaming mechanics, the music, the KOs. This crossover is just essentially the gateway to Bengus's iconic art style. So now his depictions are essentially on the comic book titles that they're headlining or featured in. So we will see Captain America, Cyclops, Doctor Doom, Iron Man, Psylocke, Rogue, Spider-Man, Storm, Thanos, Venom, and of course, Wolverine. So this is on sale December 4th all the way to Christmas, aka December 25th. So if you see a cover here that's your favorite one that you literally rocked the arcade with back in the day, talk to your local LCS and fight.
I was always Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. So next, please.
Hold on one second.
No, we broke it.
We did not break it.
That's what happens when you drink in pod.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before you get started, Drew, these scared the fuck out of me, and I had nightmares because of them. Except for this was one of the only ones that didn't freak me out. I do the art for these things for the show, guys, and yeah, just
Okay.
letting you know. Get your heebie-jeebie meter ready. Yeah.
Okay, so according to Carrie, this is Nightmare Fuel, so we got that going for you. Most recently, Marvel released a new series of variant covers focused on the theme around Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, the famous Fantastic Four founding member, which we will see these all throughout November 2024. So this is celebrating his status in comics, but also, of course, hyping up Ebon Moss-Backrack's upcoming portrayal of the character in next summer's Fantastic Four First Steps. So the variant cover series is going to kick off November 6th with Avengers 20th variant cover by Paco Medina, and then subsequent covers debuting weekly throughout, ending, I believe, with Fantastic Four issue 27. So you're going to have Avengers, Spider-Man, Captain America, Uncanny X-Men, Daredevil, Phoenix, Spider-Gwen, Wolverine, Dazzler, Iron Man, Spider-Boy, and of course, like I said, the Fantastic Four issue 27, the Thing variant. So, yeah, so this is odd, but I'm sure someone will buy this.
Dazzler is traumatizing. I mean, seriously.
Oh, but this Wolverine, oh my God. This looks like a mix between Wolverine and Chewbacca.
That looks like the Thing back during the McFarlane era.
Yeah.
It's really bulky and just kind of weird. It's like he fell apart and someone glued him back wrong. But yeah, all right.
That one freaked me out. Dazzler, though, screw that. That did not need to be made. That's just terrifying.
Yeah, it's cool.
I was doing things get rid of it as fast as I can.
It's cool though that looks like the movie's going to be partially practical effects. Like Ebon's actually wearing a mask, like a suit, a Thing suit.
Make her go away.
Okay, sorry.
Seriously,
make it stop. Make it stop.
Fucked with me, Leo. I had nightmares last night. It's just like Jesus, and then you're like, I'll just put it here for her.
I had nightmares last night myself, but they involved Keanu.
Funny.
Oh, that's too bad.
No, seriously.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Somebody killed his dog. yet.
Exactly. Leo.
No, it's weird. Like, he wasn't doing anything bad. It was like involved sharks,
Okay.
and then like I was in New York on top of a building, almost falling over. Like, it was weird.
Okay, okay. You know what, Leo? We're getting on to the news. No more drinks. No more drink meats for you, because you clearly can't handle it, buddy. Like, you're on Jeremy's level now. Only flavored seltzer. Okay. Or maybe root beer. That's the only. No more booze for you.
Root beer.
I have to pee soon.
No. Yeah. Thank you, Jar. That was much needed. And now other news.
Drew's News! Drew's
What's
News!
this?
Exciting
What
tales,
is-
fresh comic views. In the pages, heroes fly, villains fly under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News, your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun, it's a heroic cruise in the world of Drew's Comic News.
God, this glass isn't deep enough.
Jump in.
Yes, Tom. It's terrifying.
All right, so let's get into this. So I believe, Leo, you're up first.
Yeah, let me pull up my notes here.
Oh my God.
You got some notes.
I have notes. I have so many notes. Okay, so sorry.
And accents are not for you.
Okay, so if you're an X fan or a Marvel maniac, which who isn't? So get ready to jack into Time Stream this Christmas, because Time Slide #1 is about to blow your minds. So Marvel's bringing back their end of year one-shot tradition with a temporal twist. On December 25th, we're diving headfirst into a chrono catastrophe. Say that 3 times fast. With two of
Chrono
Mutant
catastrophe.
Minds.
I'm not going to
Jar,
say
you
it.
lost.
Yeah. So it involves Cable.
Toy boat.
It involves Cable and Bishop. So here's the lowdown. A mutant from the future crashes into our present with a warning that will make your X gene quiver. And not Jean Grey, though. So some hyper advanced baddies. Sorry, that was bad. Is chowing down on a time stream, aiming to erase mutants from existence. Talk about your ultimate retcon. Steve Fox, fresh off his Dark X-Men run, is teaming up with Fantastic Four artist Ivan Fiorelli to bring us this temporal tussle. And with Kale Nagu on cover duty, you know this is going to be totally awesome. So Time Slide isn't just another time travel romp. This is our sneak peek into Marvel's future plans. So we're talking about new characters, upcoming events for 2025, the story threads that will have us theorizing for months. Now we all know Cable and Bishop aren't exactly drinking buddies, but can these two put aside their beef long enough to save mutant history, or will their clash echo through time itself? So expect to see futures past, present, and beyond as they hop through the time stream. And who knows, we might catch a glimpse of some long-lost X-Men along the way. Yeah, so that comes out December 25th.
Nice. Just in time for the holidays.
There you go.
Okay. So, okay. Well, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we don't time slide it past it. All right. I believe the next one is about something very important to the presenter's heart. The spooky tale.
Once again, this October, Marvel is going to grace us with a new issue of Crypt of Shadows. Our host this time around is going to be Agatha Harkness. Agatha's sequences are going to play out as a story of its own within the anthology, and that part is written by Steve Orlando, known for Scarlet Witch, and Claire Rowe of Nebula fame. The stories that they're going to be featured within include Benjamin Percy's take on Man-Thing's curse spreading through the ocean, which of course somehow brings him into an encounter with Namor. And that is illustrated by Darth Vader artist. It's illustrated by Darth Vader.
Like, holy shit, Darth Vader's an artist.
Illustrated by Darth Vader artist Raphael Anko. Next up, we're going to have Sentry's Jason Liu and Captain America artist Carlos Magno show us once again that Kraven is an idiot. The hunter decides he's going to hunt down Jack Russell, aka Werewolf by Night. What he isn't expecting is for Blade to jump into the mix. So that's going to be some fun right there. Just like, oh shit.
Right.
Hey, whatever
Yeah,
happened to the
and
Craven movie?
They're working on it.
we don't talk about that.
I
We'll
remember
wait till it
seeing
comes out.
commercials for it, and then it just
No.
disappeared.
Jar later.
Mandela effect.
And finally, Josh Jovan, who once also hunted Man-Thing alongside Verussa Bloodstone, will be appearing in the Werewolf by Night and also appeared in the Werewolf by Night television special, is going to come out to play with the Scarlet Witch in a story written by Christopher Condon, a veteran Crypt of Shadows writer, with art by Moon Knight artist Jibril Morissette. And you can go ahead and get this on sale at your local comic book shop on October 16th. If you wanted to go over the covers that we showed in the very beginning, the first one was by Lionel Francis Yu, of course. You gotta go to Lionel Francis Yu, followed by Juan Ferreira, and for the second one. And then the third is by Martin Simmons. And I think they all look really nice, and they sound like some really good stories, like Man-Thing versus Namor. That sounds fun. Blade and Jack Russell kicking Kraven's ass, I hope. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. So, yeah, I'm for all this. I think you should all go out and buy it. Do so. Birthday wish. Unless you feel like sending me comics, in which case you can just do that instead. So
yeah, and if you don't buy it, you'll end up getting force choked.
Yes, because Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader is definitely not in this issue.
I read my comic.
But is it Darth Vader, or I heard it was Agatha all along?
Get out!
Oh my god.
Okay. Speaking of darkness, there's another character who's finally getting her first title, but more on that, Mr. Jar.
Marvel Comics is launching a new solo series starring Ilyana, Rasputin, also known as Magic, starting in January. The series will be written by Ashley Allen, who previously worked on the character in a one-shot comic, and illustrated by veteran Marvel artist Jermaine Peralta. The story will focus on Magic's investigation of a demonic presence discovered beneath the Alaskan ice near the X-Men's new base of operations. A key element of the series will be the return of Ilyana Darkchild persona, and featuring a new design by Peralta. The narrative will explore Ilyana's struggle to control this powerful but dangerous aspect of herself, which has long been suppressed. For readers unfamiliar with the character, Ilyana Rasputin is the younger sister of the X-Men Colossus. Her mutant ability allows her to teleport, but she's also a skilled sorceress with potential to become the Sorcerer Supreme in some future timelines. Ilyana's complex backstory includes years spent in Limbo, a hellish dimension where she developed her demonic Darkchild form. The series promises to delve into Ilyana's traumatic past while offering her increased power through the Darkchild persona, raising questions about the price of such abilities.
And of course, we have to mention the beautiful variant covers. Of course, the extremely obvious one is the J. Scott Campbell cover, and then the other variant by Deg Ruan. Both beautiful. Looks pretty solid. So
does she bamf when she teleports?
Bamf?
No, but no.
Okay.
I think she just opens portals with her sword.
Yeah.
Okay.
But January 8th.
Oh, is it January
8th? Yep.
Now it's Leo's turn. Leo's turn for news.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, shiny, buddy.
I'm certainly shiny. This is kicking my ass.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God.
Okay, hold on one second here. So, listen up, all you brown coats. Boom Studios is about to rock the verse with not one, but 2 origin stories that'll have you saying shiny. So we're diving.
Was the perfect opportunity to say rock the Casper, but yeah.
Oh my God.
Casper.
Okay. So we're diving deep into the past of our favorite space cowboys, Malcolm Reynolds and Zoe Elaine. So first up, hitting shelves in September of 2024 is Firefly Malcolm Reynolds Year 1. Sam Humphries is penning the tale, and with newcomer Giovanni Fabiano bringing young Mal to life. We're talking a pre-Serenity Day. And ever wonder how the troublemaker like Mal became the brown coat captain? So it's not going to be smooth sailing. We will see Mal face unexpected obstacles as he navigates the brutal unification war and its making of a captain. And it's bound to be one hell of a ride. But wait, there's definitely going to be more coming November 20th, 2024. We're getting Firefly Zoe Elaine Year 1. So the same crack team is back with Humphries writing and Fabiano on art duty. So this time we're diving into the origin of Serenity's badass first mate. The story kicks off with a bank heist that's gone sideways, leading to that fateful first meeting between Mal and Zoe. So talk about a meet cute Firefly style. So both comics promise to show us the nitty-gritty of the unification war, and it's not just about how Mal and Zoe became browncoats, but how the war shaped them into the characters that they become, to the characters that we love. So expect action, drama, maybe keep a tissue handy, it says. So and the Firefly verse, it's going to expand. So whether you're a longtime fan, which followed the show and how it was evilly canceled, or you're just trying to get into it, definitely head it out. Check out your LCS this September, which is now, or December.
And side note, Leo, I've already read the Mal Year 1 issue. It was really solid. So the Zoe is going to be just as solid, I think. Sam Humphries doing great work with fleshing out these missing parts of this nasty, brutal era of the Firefly universe history. So definitely no power in the verse should stop you from going to your LCS and getting these books. Yeah.
Are we all brown coats here or no?
I
have never had anything to do with Firefly in my entire life. I've never seen an episode or read a word that has to do with it.
I tried watching it. I didn't get it.
Carrie, I'm going to say something. The simple answer would have been no.
It was Western Star Trek.
Okay, Jar Jar, you might not have gotten it because you may
it's
not.
It's out of order.
Yes, so you have to watch the actual box set, which is in order.
Leo, leave it for after the show. So
no, I will die on this hill.
Well, that's fine. Okay, that's apparently what brown coats do.
Okay, go on, Leo. What were you saying?
You muted yourself.
I just muted Drew No, I muted Drew actually so that Leo could finish a sentence, and then he couldn't. So now Drew has muted himself. I gave you a backbone, Leo, and you didn't take it.
I appreciate that. I didn't realize he was. Okay, who's up next?
That's Carrie.
That would be me. Oh, let me pull up my notes here. Yep. Oh, and we know, Jenny, that you're a brown coat. You're in everything because you're the super fan. All right, so
just by the way, I was gonna grab this story until I saw your name on it. This is gonna be awesome. I can't wait for this.
Thank you. Okay, so Philip Kennedy Johnson, current writer for The Incredible Hulk, and like super awesome person that I am a huge fan of, is finally able to show us the book that he hinted at earlier this year featuring Ghost Rider 44, Hell Hunters. It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries illustrated by an Incredible Hulk artist, Adam Gorham. And we finally get to see the backstory of Sergeant Sal Romero, first introduced in Incredible Hulk Volume 4, Issue 1 in a cameo, but as he got to get fleshed out further as a main character in issues 6 through 8. Now, Sal, as we see here, is unable to appear as a spirit of vengeance without the presence of monsters, which fortunately are abundant during World War II. In current times, he's the guardian of a small boy named Leo who lives in a camp of migrant workers, and they had that awesome motorcycle that, like, when Hulk came through and there were people coming out, they were just like, rah! And all of a sudden, like, holy shit, it's Ghost Rider. And he's like, oh, Hulk, you're an enemy. And they're like, no, dude, we're both protecting the kids. That guy's the bad guy. Okay, shit, let's go. So that's the total quick explanation of those 3 issues put together. However, back in the war, he fought alongside Wolverine, Nick Fury, Peggy Carter, Bucky Barnes, and Soldier Supreme. I don't want to put words in their mouths, so I'm just going to go ahead and quote from Philip Kennedy Johnson. Ghost Rider 44 is definitely my favorite guest star that's appeared in our Incredible Hulk series so far. I had a fully realized origin story for Sergeant Sal Romero in my head before my partner Nick Klein brought him to life with his art, and the character turned out to be so unbelievably cool and fun. We knew the War Devil arc wouldn't be his last appearance. Now, with fan response being as overwhelming as it has, superstar artist Adam Gorham and I are giving Marvel fans the origin of Ghost Rider 44. He adds, the forgotten story of the toughest, bloodiest, scariest, most badass squad of Nazi hunters to come out of World War II, the Hell Hunters. And Gorham himself has to say, Hell Hunters is shaping up to be a dream book for me. Philip Kennedy Johnson's scripts blend horror, superheroics, and two-fisted pulp into one gritty adventure. On this title, I am pushing myself harder than ever to deliver visceral and gruesome action that I hope leaves readers blown away and wanting more. This is going to go on sale on December 15th, everyone. And if you have been following along with the Incredible Hulk and you see how horrific the transformations are every time the Hulk comes out of Bruce Banner, I'm assuming we're going to get something exceptionally similar with Ghost Rider here, because it's the monster coming out of the human, and like Wolverine's claws, it fucking hurts every time. So I'm assuming he's going to have a little bit of the same type of thing happening here. You come out, you fight the monsters, you get the power, but it takes something from you every time. And he loves to put in the brutality of that. So if you like war stories, if you like supernatural stuff, if you like Ghost Rider, if you like Philip Kennedy Johnson, hop on this. You are going to love it. Okay, I'm done now.
Ooh. Okay.
Anybody tell that she's a fangirl of Philip Kennedy Johnson?
Just a little bit, Jar. Just a little bit. So
it was everything short of a squeak.
I know, but
I've been doing my best.
Yeah, I know. And then we gave you the special juice. So all right, next up, Jar. I think this is you.
The Savage Land. Yes, coming in January. Yes, January 15th. It's a 5-issue miniseries written by Tim Seeley, known for his work on Venom War, Wolverine, and illustrated by Zulema Lavina, a rising star in the comic art world and winner of the Marvel Atelier. I don't know how to say that.
Atelier.
Yeah, competition. I've never heard of it. Is it a newer comp?
Well, it must be a new thing.
Yeah, this marks Lavinia's debut with Marvel Comics. The series revisits a significant period in Rogue's history, originally depicted in Chris Claremont and Jim Lee's Uncanny X-Men issues 269 and 274 from 1981. These classic issues introduced Rogue's adventures in the Savage Land and the beginning of her romantic relationship with Magneto, and debuted her famous Savage Land costume, which everybody seems very taken with. Rogue the Savage Land promises to expand on the pivotal storyline, offering readers the complete narrative for the first time. The story will challenge Rogue in new ways as she must survive in the hostile Savage Land environment without her mutant abilities. Readers can expect a thrilling adventure as Rogue navigates a land on the brink of war, facing dangers including dinosaurs, mutates, and even Magneto himself. The series aims to showcase Rogue's resilience and survival skills in a context where she can't rely on her usual powers. Limited series looks to be exciting exploration of beloved characters' past, offering both nostalgia for longtime fans and new adventures for new readers. Check out the covers by Care Andrews is the original cover, and there's a variant cover by Russell Dodderman. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I'm wondering if Chris was asked much about on this.
I probably was consulted a little bit. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Chris Beaumont. But yeah, you have that, and then you got also. I'm pretty sure that's Nick Bradshaw's work. That's Dodderman, I believe, and then the
Yes.
next one is that's Nick Bradshaw, and I mean he's clearly got that iconic look going there. So yeah, no, it's. I feel like this is a trend we've seen in X-Men where they just like coming back and we're filling in gaps in the
Yeah.
X-Men history. But hey, why not, right?
Yeah, we need we need more X-Men number ones.
Yep. And then
We need Mag-
What's
What?
that, Carrie?
words.
Never mind.
About Magneto?
No.
No, go for it.
I was
No.
gonna say, we need Magneto to not have black chest hair when he's completely whited out. It's maybe it's a girl perspective, but when you have this big cover with like, there's Magneto's chest, and look, he has white hair covering his whole head, but he's got full black hair. Either shave or age the same way on your chest, man, because that's not happening that way.
Okay.
Just
All right. That's it.
That's why I said don't pay attention to me, but you made me say it, so that's on you.
Okay, Leo, that's it. We're never drinking on this show again. I say that, and then 2 shows later, oh, we're totally drinking on the show again.
I was gonna say, hair does, gray differently. Like my beard is gray, but
Okay, we're gonna and the next story, the last news story.
The final story of the evening.
Yes. So returning to
Who
the
could this be?
Hellboy universe, we have Chris Robertson is teaming up with the great Michael Avon Oeming for The Shadow of the Golden Crane, which is a new Hellboy universe miniseries. It's a 4-parter where we see a mysterious BPRD case forcing Agent Su Zhang to dive into the history of the Gold Crane Society, as well as her own complicated family history. So this society, which we saw most back in the Hellboy and BPRD 1953 books, there's a connection between this agent, who's an agent of the BPRD, the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, who has psychic abilities, and an organization called the Gold Crane Society, who protected people in China from otherworldly threats for centuries. So the agent was raised on the stories of the Golden Crane, and then she had an incident involving her uncle and some Zhangqis, which are Chinese for hopping vampires, that we only saw glimpses of. So in this series, we're going to follow Susan and Hellboy and Victor Kostler as she uses her abilities to unlock their secrets, reliving her own experience of a different group of Golden Crane members at different points in history throughout China and beyond. So each one is like a standalone story, but it'll be part of a bigger narrative. So this is written by Robertson with covers and interiors by Oeming, with lettering by Clem Robbins. This will be available just like Rogue and her Savage Land Adventures. This will be in shops January 15th from Dark Horse Comics. And it just, again, always great to see another story from the Hellboy universe. So, yeah.
Hopping vampires, are they part frog?
Okay, moving on.
That's the end.
Yeah, that's it. No, I'm saying moving on. So we're just
This is the end, beautiful friend.
Hey. All right. So I guess since it's the end, Leo, do you want me to start a sign off? Mention the next guest?
Well, jeez.
Wait a second. I shouldn't do that because someone here knows the next guest better than I do. So, Miss Sanders, do you want to sign us off?
Well, I thought we were going through our normal sign off thing, and
Oh,
I
this is-
am not prepared to sign off that
No,
way.
no,
I
Carrie,
thought that was
Carrie.
your job.
No,
Yes, I
Carrie.
know.
Oh, okay. Well, you were saying, you know what? Fine.
Normally we say like, "Hi, I'm so and so. You can find me here," and blah blah blah. And then it goes to Drew, and he's like, "Yes, I'm Ghostbuster Man 1984. Everybody gives me shit about it. Fuck you guys. Love you." But next week we have this person,
Oh
and I
shit,
thought that's
that's
what we were
right.
going to do.
We
Oh
don't
wow.
even
So
have to sign
yeah.
off. No, Carrie just did it.
Mom, Dad, can we not fight? Okay, we got to end the show. Leo, go.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening, and
You're welcome.
yeah, again, this is kicking my ass. So I appreciate.
Whee!
We. So yeah, you know how to find me, you know how to Google me, but more importantly, you know, check out these awesome people and head on over to our YouTube. We're just a couple away from 600, so you know, help us get on over it. You know, yeah, that's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Carrie.
Hey, everybody. Wow. Hi, voice. Go ahead and look for me at Carrie Sanders on Facebook, and you'll find all my links to my author pages, my Owlite stuff, my splash pages stuff, anything in general. If you want to talk to me, hit me up. Let me know. I will talk to you. I have got some great stuff coming up on Owlite, by the way, that I'm super excited about, which is why I wanted to do this closing instead of the other one, because this Sunday coming up, we just got done having Ellen Datlow on the show. And this Sunday, we're bringing the couple Bridget Nelson and Jeff Strand, who are both amazing horror writers, are coming together to be on one of my shows, The Clutch of Personalities. And then as we're having an entire season of Amityville horribles for our Tomb of the Terrible, we'll be watching Amityville Death Toilet on Monday. You don't have to watch it. We'll tell you exactly what you are or are not missing. And we might have some audio from Drew Mallow as well, helping us to tell you when to get out. So yeah, that's what I had to say. Run as fast as you fucking can. It's called Death Toilet.
Don't flush.
That's some shit right there. Oh, hey, I'm Jar Jar Jeremy. You can find me on Facebook by the name Jeremy Courtney, and check out Comic Book Lovers Buy Sell Trade and Auction House. And Still Token with the Dead is every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It's 5 pages.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. We had a great time.
I really want to know.
And I don't regret and I don't regret having alcohol on the show today, but it clearly enables all of these goofballs to do even more, and no regrets. But if you need to contact me for any reason, I'm on Facebook, Ghostbuster Man 1984 on the bottom. I'm doing a lot, regardless of my current circumstances. But I'm still available, and I most likely will talk to you, whether or not you have anything to say. And next week, we also have another great guest that we met at Terrificon, who our Miss Carrie had the pleasure of interviewing. The enthusiastic Stuart Sager is going to be coming on. So we're going to be talking about some of his work. I am extremely excited because our schedule is slowly filling up. We're almost there for a completely booked October. So we have some great guests coming up. We will definitely tell you who they are so you can read. But we want to thank everybody for showing up. Thank you for the people who commented, questions and whatnot. We love you guys, and be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Jeremy.
Salute.
Salute.
Not everybody.